Hello everybody, welcome to It Was Tuesday with your host James Chen, aka Jay Chenzor. As you can probably guess, I've got my Red Bull Kumite shirt, New York shirt on right now, and that is because I just got back from Red Bull Kumite New York, and boy, what an event it was. It was absolutely amazing. Let's just get right into it and just start talking about it here. I landed yesterday. I was just exhausted. I didn't get much sleep during the Red Bull Kumite and expended so much energy into the game. Into the event. So yesterday I couldn't do a dang thing. But we're back here for It Was Tuesday. And before we start talking about the results or anything, I just want to talk about, the event itself, the production, my experiences there. But I haven't done a Red Bull Kumite in a very, very long time. In fact, since some of the first ones that were in France. Since then, just for whatever reasons, obviously they're in different locations, so it's easier to get different commentators out. I was supposed to be at the one in Vegas, but I had a conflict. I believe was Tetris World Championships was the same weekend as the Vegas Red Bull, but finally made it back to this New York one. I had to go to this one because, again, as you heard last week when I did the preview, how much I believe being in New York was just such a wonderful thing to do, how meaningful it was, how important it was. So if you missed that, please check out last week's episode, but I'm not going to go into it again. But again, I was there, and, Red Bull runs a very, very, very tight ship. Absolutely. Richard Kuklinski, obviously, Kuklinski, I should say. Broly Legs passed away, and, that is definitely something on my mind. But we will talk about that a little bit later on in the show, potentially. So again, as a content creator, it's a tough thing to handle here. So I'm going to continue talking about the Red Bull Kumite here. Again, just the production was wonderful. Red Bull does such meticulous detail, and they choose the themes well. They decided to choose a very New York-based theme for the event. If you guys saw it, it was amazing with the taxi, the graffiti on the wall. The DJ booth was a hot dog stand. Like, they disguised the DJ booth as a little hot dog stand on the side. Instead of the caged octagon, it was like broken fences with fire hydrants and newsstands and stuff like that everywhere. And then, the whole thing which they did with ROBTV and L.I. Joe, aka the Battle King and L.I. Jerk, they killed it. And honestly, the whole talent team killed it. I had such a wonderful time working with those guys over there. Last week, I forgot to mention Tasty Steve was on there because I didn't see the tweet from Red Bull, but obviously he was there, and everybody just had such a wonderful time. And like I said, Red Bull spares no expenses. They do such a wonderful job. The whole theming thing. Yeah, I know a lot of people felt like it was kind of cringe, but it was just like that perfect level of cringe. It was so cringe that it became just amazing because of how all in they went in on it, right? They spared no expenses on going into that lore, and really, Z being the taxi driver was amazing. And of course, Z being able to speak 3 languages, Japanese, Chinese, and English makes it a very, very good person to be the taxi interviewer. So Red Bull, Chabroni, obviously from the past, I've talked about difficulties as a commentator. Red Bull takes care of its people. All right. So again, yes, I got paid. Red Bull pays well. They took care of our meals, our travels, etc., etc. They took care of all of the talent very, very well. They took care of all the players very, very well. Again, they are a big time production. honestly. And, you know, obviously we wish all events could have the production value of a Red Bull, but we all don't have the budget of a Red Bull. So, you know, it's hard. It is difficult. So we can't. So that's one thing to say about the production. A lot of people are like, Evo needs to pay attention. We would love to. Evo would love to. But again, you know, budgets are vastly different. Plus, another thing, too, is that invitationals will always be different than full-blown tournaments. Invitational, you know which players are showing up, so you can record the videos ahead of time. So they had all those videos that they were able to record earlier in the week for all the players there and interview them, and, you know, have all the artwork ready, all the assets ready. Obviously, something like Evo, you know, there was one year at Evo where we interviewed all top 8 players for every game. And I actually tried to edit the interviews live on the spot. I brought my PC, and after the interview's done, I just sat in the back corner and was trying to edit videos. The transfer process was slow. The render process was slow, all this stuff. And literally, I had a nervous breakdown at the event because it was so hard to do, because it was so grassroots, and it was just me and my computer, you know. But, you know, obviously Red Bull, I mean, you're there, and there's just, like, the Red Bull staff is ginormous. There's people there doing every role humanly imaginable. So Evo could probably get to that degree, but again, we don't know the players ahead of time. And so sometimes it's difficult to, you know, wrangle the players. I mean, that was another hard part, was that even after a player qualified, a lot of the times you couldn't, like, you would be like, don't go anywhere, stay, don't run. And they're like off to celebrate with friends, and like they disappeared and all that stuff like that. So it's a tough situation for something like Evo. Now, something like Capcom Cup, where they do know their 48 players ahead of time, you know, obviously, you know, an SNK World Championships or a Tekken World Tour, all these things can definitely look to Red Bull Kumite as an example. But again, budgets, and I mean, Red Bull staff, I mean, this is literally like professional. Like, there are people there who are writers and storyboard and artists and set designers and where, like, in the FGC, like, we're just being like, hey, you know how to do some set designing stuff, you know, like, it's a tough situation. So yes, while the Red Bull Kumite was amazing. Now, if any one of these companies maybe want to contract Red Bull to do the World Championships, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much Red Bull would charge for something like that. Obviously, they spend a lot of money on these things, and they're not sparing any expenses. So, you know, it's tough. They definitely have a larger budget than the rest of us, so we all can't be like Red Bull Kumite. But again, you know, just speaking to that, the production was amazing. The set was amazing. I know some people didn't feel, you know, too great about L.I. Joe and ROBTV talking total, absolute, pardon the French, talking so much shit to the players who lose. But just so you guys know, I'm breaking the illusion over here. I'm talking a little bit about the behind the scenes over here. I actually walked by Rob and L.I. Joe when they were talking to all the players. And literally there was a conversation beforehand that they were like, remember, we are actors today. We are going to be mean. Nothing we say is personal or serious. And even after the tournament was over, every time L.I. Joe saw somebody, he was like, I'm so sorry. Like, please, I didn't mean it. And most of the people, you know, they played along with it. Now, obviously, it's still very difficult to interview anybody who loses. You could tell even in the taxi, even though they knew it was all part of the show and stuff, that some of the players were definitely, you know, not feeling their best and such. But, you know, it made for a fun production, and it was, you know, you want to make sure that you don't want to just have the players lose and then disappear, right? You want to be able to see them talk and hear them say something. And I think that's the idea behind it. So I think that's just basically what it is. So sorry. I know I'm breaking kayfabe here, but you know what? There's a reason why L.I. Joe is one of the few people on the planet that I would take a bullet for. L.I. Jerk? No, definitely. I would watch and laugh. But L.I. Joe, for sure. He is one of the nicest, kindest, most wonderful people in the world, honestly. So, dude, Give It to the Better Bird was brutal, dude. That thing was so brutal. Oh, my God. I was just like, come on, Joe. But, I mean, honestly, I was worried about the three-man commentary teams as well because, you know, for something like ICFC where we're casual, just sitting in our own home, people can take breaks and whatever like that, you know, four-man commentary, whatever. For something like Bull Kumite, I was worried, like I was like, can three people work together really well? But I'll tell you right now, so the two groups that I worked with on the finals day were, you know, me, Tasty Steve, and Justin, and me, Tasty Steve, and Yipes. And I gotta say, I felt like both of them went really, really well. I mean, I am gonna say that I really did feel like me, Tasty Steve, and Justin was just like one of the best commentary groups that I've ever worked with. I mean, obviously I enjoy working with IFC Yipes. In fact, he's my favorite co-commentator out of everybody. I enjoy working with Yipes the most, but it wasn't the personalities necessarily. It was the dynamic that we had. Whereas Tasty Steve was the guy who could really control the hype. Justin was really the knowledge guy, and I was kind of like the viewer avatar where I could get hype, I could explain things, and then I could also ask Justin the right questions. I could get the right reactions out of Tasty Steve. So even though Tasty Steve was the leader of the group, I felt kind of like more of the orchestrator, and I just felt like the three of us, like we worked really well. We never stepped on each other's toes. We did a lot of good visual cues. When one person really wanted to talk after the break, we would do this and be like this. I mean, seriously, this is including my group with Yipes as well, which you guys couldn't see, but like every time we commentated a match, like it felt so good that as soon as the match ended, me, Justin, and Steve would all just start fist bumping and hugging. And then same thing with Yipes. As soon as our blocks, like as soon as one match finished and we went to Rob and Joe, we just started fist bumping and hugging and just being like, yo, that was sick. You know, and it's so great, dude. It's really good. Did you do any practice commentary as the group? No, we just went up there and did it. And honestly, someone tweeted this and said like one of the best skills you can learn for commentary is improvisation. And honestly, the best commentators we have, that is what like some of our best skills is the improvisation. As well as the fact, like I told the guys that, you know, hired us all, I was like, we're all actually legit friends in real life too. You know, like all of us would take bullets for each other, you know what I mean? And that makes it so it's all really great. I mean, you know, I kind of talk about this improvisation thing, you know, and, you know, Richard in the chat says, you know, our improv is S tier for sure. But I just like one of my favorite stories to tell is when Sherry helped organize a tournament. I think it was like in the middle of the country. It was like in Iowa or somewhere like that. And she hired me and Yipes as the commentator. It was a very small city. They really didn't have much like that, but they had a casino in the city, and so that's where the event took place. So the local news actually came out to interview a bunch of us and talk about, cool, there's this video game tournament, esports is this latest thing or whatever like that. And the news people got me and Yipes, who were the commentators, to interview. And they were like, hey, and we were like, what do you want us to say? They just want us to record a segment. And they're like, oh, just talk about the event and everything. And sure enough, like me and Yipes, we just start going on like, you know, oh yeah, this is an event. Oh, right, exactly. And da-da. And here we were doing this and, you know, we're doing the FGC, exactly. And just, we did this back and forth thing. And then as soon as we finished, the news crew just looked at us and they were like, you guys are really freaking good. They were like, we have to pull teeth with so many other so-called professionals. Like they need us to tell them exactly what to say. Otherwise, they don't know what to say. And they were like, you two just killed it and riffed and was like, you gave us all this information and great stuff with energy, etc., etc. And they were like, you guys were fantastic. And we were like, thanks, this is what we do. All of the FGC learned this job on our feet. Nobody actually taught us any of this. We all had to learn how to do this on our own. And our improvisation skills is what makes some of the best commentators. Some of the best commentators here are about the improvisation, about, oh, I want to say this, I missed my chance, I can't say it, otherwise I'll break rhythm. You know, or, you know, someone making a joke and someone, like sometimes someone will say something and I never want to interrupt them. But then sometimes you feel like, wait, no, this is the right time to just be able to go, and then he did this, oh my God, and then shut up and then let them keep going. You know, there's this interesting dynamic with the commentary. David calls it matchups, learning how to have the matchup with other commentators. And it is such an important skill that a lot of people don't understand. You'll see a lot of the beginning commentators, what they tend to do is to talk, and they don't stop talking. They don't give the other person enough room to jump in, or they don't lead into the co-commentators, et cetera, et cetera. It's really, really a lot of fun. Thanks, Mario, saying excited to watch me commentate Uni 2 this weekend. You know, I hope I do a good job. Again, my biggest strength is that I love the game, and so, you know, hopefully that comes out. But yeah, the one of the things that I appreciate in the FGC is that the source of most talents is grassroots. Absolutely. I love the fact that we keep hiring within the community and such. And honestly, it's one of the things that makes commentators better than others, when you can see the commentators are good at working with their co-casters. Honestly, I really feel like I might be the best out there at working with co-casters. I have worked with, you know, beginner casters that aren't great, and so I spend most of the time leading, trying to bring them in the conversation. I work with commentators who just want to make jokes all day, so I make sure I focus on, you know, information, etc., etc. Then I work with commentators who are great at the information, so I don't bother, and instead I ask questions, etc., etc. And so honestly, while I may not be the best in terms of commentary in any particular, you know, specific role, like I am clearly the most versatile, and I mean, a lot of that's going to be on display this weekend when I commentate Arc World Tour, because obviously Uni and Grand Blue are not my main games, but I will be working with two people who are extremely knowledgeable about those games and try to focus on the humanity aspect and the hype aspect, etc., to try to balance out a little bit of the knowledge and stuff like that. So again, that's what commentary is about. A lot of people think commentary is about giving information, being hype, being funny, etc., etc. Commentary is a lot more than that. It is about working with the people you're with, understanding how to mold your role into what you need to do, improvisation, like we were saying earlier, and filling the role that is being asked of you. And I think that is a thing, that's kind of the best way to describe commentary. Again, as I always do, like I approach fighting games, I approach commentary as a very vague kind of emotional heart thing, as opposed to a very technical thing. You know, people have asked me why I haven't done commentary lessons. And while I have done some commentary lessons, I've done some for Persia a long time ago for XO Academy, a lot of my lessons are just like, hey, you know, these are my philosophies. That's basically what it is. Oh, don't worry, Chabroni. We will get into that. That is definitely something I'll be talking about later in the chat. All right, so let's talk about the matches here. We had the play-in, which was amazing. And of course, with the play-in, that was Nephew able to defeat a bunch of other players. He beat Shine. Obviously, I was definitely rooting for Shine. Nothing against Nephew, but Kimberly player, Noah the Prodigy, Chen. That's 1st through 4th. So Nephew, Shine, Noah the Prodigy, Jen, Kusanagi, and Garnett in 5th, and Yukichi and Spaceboy in 7th. But Nephew was able to make it out of there. But then we had the last chance qualifiers, and Uriel Velorio from Mexico, shocking a lot of people. really surprising a lot of people, getting second place, able to make it through players like JB, or, well, he did lose to Chris CCH, but he placed higher than Chris CCH because eventually he got the run back on Chris CCH and defeated him as well. But he defeated JB, Chris CCH, he defeated VWSYM, he was able to defeat Julio Fuentes. So first place was Dual Kevin, who did qualify. And shout outs to Red Bull, they created his artwork so fast, although they couldn't make it on the card, but they created his artwork literally that night. Like, him and Nephew got artwork. I'm sure the play-in, they had all of the artwork already drawn out, maybe just in case. But Dual Kevin, they got his artwork like drawn in a night. That was like ridiculous. VWSYM, VWSIM, I don't know how to pronounce that. Player that I actually don't know anything about got 5th place. Jack got 5th place. Julio Fuentes and Flaquito, 7th place, tied. So really, really nicely done there. But of course, Dual Kevin was the one that made it. And thus we got to the actual event, the main event, in which we actually drew the names, and they found out who they had to play, and they played right away. They didn't do the thing where they do the whole drawing ceremony and everybody knew who they had to play right away. It was literally draw 2, play, draw 2, play, draw 2, play. So nobody except for the last 2 players knew exactly who they were gonna play beforehand. It was actually really sick that they did it that way. I really liked it. It added to the drama. And, you know, guys like Mr. Crimson's like, you know, I kind of want to play Punk, even though in his interview he's like, I don't want to play Punk. But, yeah, so, you know, the first one that was drawn was Nephew and Idom. And of course, we were in Brooklyn. Idom is the Brooklyn kid. He's from Brooklyn. So obviously he was the hometown hero, but I talked to Idom a little at the after party and I was just like, you waiting? Oh, is he from Queens? Oh, he's from Queens. Oh, okay. I thought he was from Brooklyn. Never mind. My bad. Sorry. I always hear these things, and I guess I misinterpreted what it meant by this was his hometown. I guess they just meant from New York over here. Oh, nice. Hey, happy Persian New Year, Shayon. Yeah, there you go. You can celebrate it over here. Let me know when it gets to New Year. We'll definitely give you a shout out here as well. Spider-Man, not Captain America. Thanks, Gundam Jehudi Kai. Oh yeah, Rage Socks. That's tough too. But again, I talked to him at the after party. I was like, so are you just waiting for season 2 now? Like, I mean, this isn't working, man. This isn't working. He lost 5-0 to Nephew. Jury is not a fun match for Manon at all. Fireball, Drive Rush is such a pain for Manon to deal with. You also saw one of the reasons why I keep saying you can't be good in this game without an OD wake up or something, because Nephew got Idom in the corner and it was just throw loop mix up city. And you're just in such a bad defensive position to be dealing with that. The game is so aggressive that the fact that you cannot get out of that situation while other characters have a better chance is too much of a hindrance for your character. And so I really just feel like, I mean, I want Idom to switch characters so badly. I do, but season 2's coming up. Might as well stick with her, see what buffs she gets, if she gets any, and if not, I hope he moves on. I hope he moves on to another character, honestly. Oh yeah, for sure, Nephew had good defensive reads too. But again, that's the ability to, when you have a wake up, OD wake up, because when you don't have it, the mix up is attack or throw or shimmy, right? Wake up OD only loses to shimmy. But the problem is the opponent has to guess that for every so often. They have to try to guess that. And because of that, you can get away by seeing them shimmy and then press a button and take your turn. A lot of characters who do not have OD wake-ups do not have that privilege. And so your limitation, your situation in the corner is so much more limited that you don't have the leeway to make the good defensive reads, you know? It's just kind of how it works. So, you know, it's crazy. And not everybody who has an OD wake up is automatically top tier, obviously, but having it is in my opinion something you have to have. There's nobody in the top 10 that doesn't have an OD wake up, in my opinion. And the worst thing about it, Mute Mind, who says Kimberly player, I have to wake up super, and that is 50% hit. The worst thing about it is that Manon, Kimberly, and Lily, 3 characters who need it the most, have the 3 slowest level 1s at 14, 12, and 11 frame startup. So they're the ones that you can jab in there. Lily's ODDP at least is throw invul. At least is throw invul. But holy crap, like Kimberly and Manon are like the 2 saddest characters. Dulcim as well, because he only has a level 2 invincible and it doesn't hit crouchers. So Dulcim is in a really, really sad situation here. Thanks, Richard Kuklinski. So, you know, it's a tough situation, and I really feel like they got to get creative with it. You know, I said just give Kimberly an ODDP. These days I'm changing to, because it's such a cool inside joke, you know, Cody had the bad spray and she has a spray can. And so we could call it like the good spray or the worst spray or something like that, where she hits the ground and drops a spray can. And then she gets up and it doesn't blow up right away. But if the opponent tries to go for buttons, they might blow up. So they're more now tempted to throw you. So that actually puts the lean in so they can throw you and the bomb will explode and they'll be safe. But see, that now forces them into a different kind of guess. And that way it adds to things and gives her spray can more uses, and she's still limited on those. So if you knock her down with no spray cans, it's like she's still gonna die as she always did. So I think that would actually work. Or bad spray can. I think bad spray can. Well, I think he means Yun and Yang. Young. I think he means both of them. So, but in any case, Idom lost 0-5 to Nephew. Brutal match. Then NuckleDu fought Hibiki. And while some people will actually say, oh, I think Lily does fine against Guile. No, that's not a good fight. NuckleDu 5-0 over Hibiki. Really, really, really tough match for Hibiki. Really bad draw. Same for Idom, honestly, because I think Manon versus Jury is like just one of Manon's worst matchups, but that's just Manon anyway. So, and then interestingly enough, Big Bird versus Tokido. And Big Bird 5-1 over Tokido. I mean, talk about fighting for the Ken isn't even that good character camp these days. Because Big Bird just ran right through Tokido. It was barely a competition, honestly. It didn't really look like Tokido could do much, honestly. In the studio, we had a hard time hearing a lot of those interviews, unfortunately, on commentary and in the studio. So I didn't actually hear it exactly, but I know Tokido said, you know, I'll be back. Red Bull Kumite is very hard. And he said, Akuma's coming. I'll be back kind of things, you know. So I think he's talking about this Akuma, you know. But yeah, Big Bird, 5-1, destruction. And then Lashar with the 5-1 over Oil King. I mean, at this point in time, I mean, I think it really comes down to Lashar or Moke. I would have had Valmaster in that discussion, but Valmaster didn't do so well at Capcom Cup. I do feel like that's a little bit of an anomaly tournament. I feel like Valmaster, that's why I'm sad he couldn't make it to this event. He got replaced by Mr. Crimson. For family reasons or something like that. Hope you're doing well, Valmaster. I would have loved to have seen him come out here and kind of, I don't want to say redeem himself, but more show why people like me had him picked as one of the potential top 16 at Capcom Cup, because he's so strong. So But, I mean, Lashar at this point in time might be the player that is really showing that he is the best Chun-Li in the world. And again, you saw his controller playing on a WASD on his right hand and 4 and 8 keyboard buttons on his left hand. He literally just has the keys on his controller. He's not using a hitbox. He's not using a joystick or a pad. And I don't know how that makes it work, but he has the fastest Tenshokyuk in the business. You don't even see Chun-Li crouch at all. She just walks into up kicks, and he's not using modern mode. It's actually crazy how fast he is at that. But yeah, 5-1 over Oil King, which is really, really crazy. Now, Rashid does have a hard time against Chun-Li because he does get outclassed by her neutral by a lot because he doesn't have the long range buttons anymore. But again, Lashar 5-1 over Oil King. Punk 5-0 over Mr. Crimson. I mean, Mr. Crimson said he might want to fight Punk, but it didn't work out there. That Cammy just blew up the Dalsum. And while Cammy has always been strong versus Dalsum, in 5 and 6, I don't really think that's the case. I know in 5, Dalsum fought Cammy really well, but honestly, with the lack of wake-ups and with Dalsum not being as offensive as he was in 6, even though as he was in 5, even though he's still fairly offensive, it's not quite the same as he was in Street Fighter V, which I called him Sentinel because I felt like he had the best rush down in the game. So Punk, yeah, 5-0 over Mr. Crimson, dude. That was a brutal, brutal matchup there. And then what came next was, in my opinion, one of the 2 best matches of the day, which was, of course, Dual Kevin versus Chris Wong. 5-4, final game, final round, with Chris Wong taking it in the very end. But again, remember, Dual Kevin was the last chance qualifier winner, coming in here and actually taking Chris Wong, who I was arguing might be the best Street Fighter 6 player on the planet currently, given, you know, his offline success and stuff like that. Oh yeah, absolutely. Shout outs to the Hong Kong players for sure. And Dual Kevin, though, took him to the final game, final round. But my favorite thing, honestly, was, you know, because I was commentating this match and I was sitting right in front of where the players came in and out when Dual Kevin walked up to be roasted by ROBTV. The audience there, and shout outs again to the New York audience. I haven't had a chance to talk about this, but New York audience is always going to be one of the best audiences that you're going to ask for. In the US, it's going to be the closest thing we're going to get to something like the Dominican Republic, because it's raucous out there. It's loud. They cheer, and it's great. I mean, there's a reason why West Coast was always known for golf claps, and the East Coast was known for being hype and just loud and stuff, largely because of that New York scene, honestly. But when they started chanting his name when he was getting close to beating Chris Wong. And when he walked up after they interviewed Chris Wong and he walked away and Dual Kevin was getting ready to take the walk to L.I. Joe to get his card burned in the trash can. So yeah, if you guys didn't see it, they were all handed their card. They took it up to the stage after they finished playing. They had to take their card, hand it to L.I. Joe, and then L.I. Joe would just dump it into the trash can, sometimes even cutting them with scissors like he did with poor Gotcha-kun. But before Dual Kevin even got to start to make that walk, the audience just started chanting, Kevin, Kevin, Kevin. And I could see it on Kevin's face. He looked like he was like, what is happening? Like, it was like, you could tell on his face, like, it was just like, holy crap, they're chanting my name. And like, you could tell he was getting really moved by it. He had this smile on his face. Like, he was like, what the fuck is happening? Like, that's what his smile looked like on his face, honestly. And I started crying, obviously, because I do as I do, right? But that's why afterwards, when it got back to me, and again, shout outs to Tasty Steve and Justin, I was like, let me talk, please, let me talk. And I just said it. I was like, this is why I love the FGC, because Kevin was up there, and he's never going to forget that experience ever in his life. Like, that thing is going to stick into having a whole room chanting his name like that, even though he lost. You know, I mean, he wanted to win and everything, but I mean, he already won a TV for winning the LCQ, okay, that he had to somehow ship home. I hope he made it home with that TV. But honestly, I ran into him literally as I was leaving the venue to fly home. I ran into him with his TV, and he's like, I don't know how to get this home. But I asked him, I was like, dude, what did that crowd chanting mean to you? And Kevin literally was like, I didn't know how to react. He was like, I was so confused. He was like, it was just so unexpected, so like unbelievable. And he's like, I literally was confused and did not know how to react. And, you know, that's kind of what I saw in his face. That's honestly what I saw in his face. That smile was just like that, what is happening face, you know? And again, like someone in the chat said, like Citizen Lawless says in the chat, core memory. And that is what makes me love the fighting game community, because that's what we're doing. We're able to provide core memories, you know, for these people who otherwise may not ever have had this chance. You know, for doing what? Playing video games? I mean, how sick is that? How sick is that, honestly? But moving on, then we had the Red Bull team kill with Gotcha-kun and Bonchan. And yeah, Gotcha-kun 5-2ing Bonchan. Really, really dominant performance here. In fact, I will tell you right now, Luke did not do well at this tournament. Luke did not do well at this tournament except for Chris Wong. Right? Actually, I'm not even going to say that, because Chris Wong beat Dual Kevin, but it went down to the final game, final round. Nobody else played Luke except for Bonchan, and he went out the first round. But then MenaRD did play Luke in the next match against Broski, which was the second best match of the tournament. And that went to the final game. Broski looked like he was going to get washed. Thankfully, he didn't, making it sound like I was smart when I said Mono told me that Aki versus Luke is not bad. But to be fair, those Aki buffs came in clutch in that match, especially that Stand Strong buff. If you guys don't know, her Stand Strong got 2 extra active frames at the end of it. And the reason why that made it so strong, I realized watching that match and seeing what other people are saying, it makes so much difference for checking drive rushes to have 5 active frames to be able to check that. And yeah, getting washed basically means you got bodied, which basically means the guy beat you really badly. But also Broski's really good, and I know a lot of people were tweeting at me, Aki is cool, because I kept saying that. Please do not associate that with me. That is not my thing. I said it because that's Broski's thing. His chat is always, Aki is cool, Aki is cool, Aki is cool. So I kept repeating it for Broski and his fans. It is not a James Chen thing, 100% certified Broski thing. Do not take, I am not taking credit for that. But Broski was amazing, and I told him that afterwards. And let's face it, 5-4, 5-4 spoilers, but Broski took 4 times as many games against MenaRD than everyone else combined. Can you imagine that? And that's round 1. That's round 1. It was shocking, yeah. But again, for those of us who know Aki, like for me, I was just so excited to see it because I played a lot of Aki and I know that character decently, but not to the level of Broski. My God, some of the stuff that he was pulling out, I was just like, what? Oh man, yeah. He's a very big streamer in the UK, very popular streamer, has some of one of the larger audiences there because he's very consistent and he's very educational as well. So wonderful, wonderful person to follow if you want to learn about Aki. Oh, she's so hard to play. Karpaslatka, absolutely. Yeah, Impressed Nerves didn't get to him, and they did, it felt like, because he lost the first 2 games in ways that I didn't feel were indicative of his level of skill. But then sure enough, I think he was able to calm down, and like he said, he had nothing to lose. he had nothing to lose, basically. All right, take care, Dubudomo. Have a good night. So, round two. Round two started with Nephew versus Knuckledew. And Knuckledew 5-0ing Hibiki. I mean, Knuckledew looked unstoppable at this tournament. He really did. He just 5-2'd over Nephew. Now, Nephew did try to play Ed, and he did some cool stuff with Ed. He really only took games when he switched over to Jury again after going down 4 games. But Knuckledew, I mean, right now, I mean, if you count MenaRD as US, Knuckledew is the second best player in the country right now. If you count MenaRD as Dominican Republic, as we really honestly should, Knuckledew is the best in the US right now. He just is. He just is. He's so consistent. He's strong. The stuff that he pulls off is just absolutely fantastic. He is completely amazing. Yeah, that's right. He had the accident. He's gone through his own, you know, emotional situations, but you know, then he won Capcom Cup, got family and everything, going through all the taxes and stuff like that. You know, it's been an interesting life for Knuckledew, but I have definitely, that's why he's one of the people I root for the most. I love seeing him do well because he deserves it so much, and took out Nephew 5-2, man. And then the next match here, Lashar and Big Bird. Keep in mind, Big Bird 5-1 Tokido. He 5-1 Tokido'd. And then Lashar 5-1 Big Bird with Chun-Li. And this is actually a really tough situation for Big Bird, because Big Bird is, he's been trying to learn Rashid. He's been trying to main Rashid. If you guys remember in my thing that I talked about last week, I was saying I wouldn't be surprised if we only saw Big Bird use Rashid. But he used Marisa versus Tokido because I think he just felt better in that matchup, and he's the reigning champion and wants to defend it. And as I said in the Lashar versus Oil King matchup, Chun-Li is really good against Rashid. And so I don't think Big Bird, I mean, there's just not, you just don't play that matchup if you've got a Marisa on deck. So he went up against Lashar with that Marisa, and it just didn't work out. 5-1 to Lashar, and Lashar was just so solid. Well, Richard Kuklinski, don't forget, he was the one who made it out of Group F of Capcom Cup in first place. Group F containing Angry Bird, Punk, Kaba, and Ending Walker, and then Nero the Boxer and Lashar. That was Group F, and everyone's like, my God, this is messed up, but it'll probably be MenaRD and Angry Bird. And Lashar made it out of that group in the highest seed. So Lashar, ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, proving it here. But we'll get to that in a little bit. And then in also, I mean, probably the third best match, Punk versus Chris Wong. And the reason why that match was so good is because Punk's Cammy versus Chris Wong's Luke, like the footsies on display, the neutral was so good. They were both whiff punishing everything, but Punk just showcasing why he has just clearly one, like the best Cammy in the world, even without using any of the shenanigans. His fundamentals are just too solid, dude. They're just so good. And as good as we know Chris Wong is, I mean, if Chris Wong didn't have Punk in his path, I think it almost might have been like almost a guarantee that he would make it to grand finals. Well, okay, MenaRD was in his path as well, but Chris Wong was definitely one of the favorites. And it was like, it was such a fundamental match. It was so beautiful to watch. I really, really, really enjoyed that matchup. Punk did end up taking it 5-3, again, indicating how close it was. I mean, it was 4-3. I think it might have even been 3-3 at one point, and then Punk won the last 2 games. But again, it's a match to analyze in terms of Footsie's handbooks. And actually, you know what? Maybe next week I'll actually analyze it, because it'll help teach me footsies as well. Because honestly, my footsies in 6 and 5 And even Pseudo in 4, not even as much, because 4 had more ignorant 8-on standing roundhouse type of buttons. And whiff punishing wasn't as bad. But, you know, my footsies in 5 and 6 are very weak because it's a different style of footsies that I'm used to. So maybe analyzing that match would actually be really fun to do. I'll think about that for next week for sure. But then we had MenaRD versus Gotcha-kun. MenaRD sticking with the Luke against Gotcha-kun. But he did take it 5-1. Very surprising that Gotcha-kun went down that fast. But again, MenaRD is, I mean, you know, again, spoilers. I mean, like, he's probably the best player on the planet right now. I think it's almost impossible to say he's not. Like, he's just ridiculous. Like, that guy is ridiculous. And in fact, the only reason why he didn't finish first in that group was because he lost to Lashar. Right, he lost to Lashar, and so Lashar won, I believe, the tiebreaker because he had the better head-to-head result. But MenaRD, clearly one of the best, took out Gotcha-kun 5-1 in a fairly dominating fashion. So then we go to the semifinals. Only 4 players remaining at this point. NuckleDu versus Lashar. And like I said, Lashar 5-1 over Oil King. Lashar 5-1 over Big Bird. And NuckleDu, I mean, NuckleDu alone is the reason why people think Guile is top tier. Honestly, because no other Guile does this. What other Guile out there does this and places? Like, obviously, Kaba's really good. I'm not going to say Higuchi's not really good, etc., etc. But, dude, NuckleDu, I mean, is his Guile 2 times better than the next best Guile? Maybe. Maybe. Yeah. And a lot of people see those sonic boom loops, and I'm glad Lurker Spine just mentioned in... Oh, okay, Higuchi just won Beast Cup. Oh, thank you, I drove a van. Thank you. Okay, that's really good to know. Yeah, super good. And even that, I'm still not sure I would actually say NuckleDu isn't like 2 times better than the next guy. NuckleDu's ridiculous. He's just ridiculous, right? And like Lurker Spine says, dude, have you tried those sonic boom loops? The way that NuckleDu makes it look like it's so effortless. But there is some late cancels required in a lot of those sonic boom loops in order to keep them extended and have the perfect timing to get standing heavy kick into the level 3 at the end. It's really hard, and he does it like it's nothing, dude. It's crazy. And seriously, try it. Go watch a NuckleDu clip and seriously just sit down and try the loop. As much as you think you know how to play Guile or you're really good at charging and stuff like that, it's not about that. Like I said, there's some late cancels that you need to do. If you do low strong sonic boom too fast, it's not going to work. So you actually have to do a like 2nd or 3rd active frame perfect cancel on the sonic boom. And remember, if you're not perfect booming, you're not getting that loop. It's really, really crazy, dude. It's nuts. And so NuckleDu 5-1 over Lashar. Chun-Li versus Guile. And it's not like, I don't think that's a bad matchup for Chun-Li. I don't think that's a bad matchup for Chun-Li, but NuckleDu is just that solid, dude. He's crazy. I mean, you know what, Infinity? I mean, Lashar's Chun-Li greater than Mena's Blanka. He did beat Mena's Blanka at Capcom Cup in Group F, but Mena's Blanka stepped up, okay? I don't know if it would be the same thing because, again, Mena is also not the person to take a loss like that and just be like, what happened? And that's it. Like, he will study that shit, dude. Mena puts in work. He puts in work. People have said, I mean, when they went to the FAV Cup, I think even NuckleDu said it. He was like, I've never seen anybody practice that hard, you know, as MenaRD. He was like, that guy is crazy, dude. So, any thoughts on why so many of the matches were one-sided? I don't know, John the Automaton. It's a really good question. I mean, I'll give you the reason for some of the matches coming up in a second. But NuckleDu 5-1 over Lashar. And then MenaRD 5-0 over Punk Now remember, Punk was able to beat Problem X's Blanka in the LCQ on the winner's side, but then Problem X came back and won, you know, 2 sets from the loser side and eliminated Punk from the LCQ and moved on. MenaRD with his Blanka 5-0'd Punk like it was nothing, dude. Like it was nothing. And so then you go to MenaRD and NuckleDu in grand finals, and Blanka players will tell you that Blanka's biggest weakness is projectiles. That he has a hard time dealing with projectiles. And who's better at projectiles and being defensive with them than Guile in the hands of NuckleDu? And so I think most Blanka players will tell you that Blanka versus Guile is a bad matchup. Was a bad matchup. Dude, Harv, if you play Guile, Harv in the chat says, wow, didn't know Guile was that technical. I just thought it was throwing out booms and spamming. Dude, you play Guile and early on in the lower ranks and you just get drive impacted all day. You're like, what the hell are you supposed to do to this? Dude, Guile is actually way harder to use than you actually think he is. Trust me. You should try it. You should try it, honestly. I don't know if it was nerves getting to Punk this time. I really don't think it was the nerves this time, the Rude Society. I really, really don't. Oh, right, he can slide under the projectiles, but you can bait him out, and if you bait him out, you get to get big damage where he just knocks you down, maybe gets in, but like I said, if you block it, you get a punish counter, you get a big combo potentially, etc., etc. What's particularly weird was that people got beat, others 5-0, 5-1, then went on to lose similarly. Longer sets were supposed to give us closer matches, but does this mean that longer sets don't affect the results that much? I need a cup of tea, John the Automaton. I need a cup of tea because I just need to do this, man. I just need to do this. Anyways, we get to grand finals and MenaRD versus NuckleDu. No, I'm saying this because I think you're right, John the Automaton. I really do think you're right. I think longer sets is a little overrated. I really think longer sets is a little overrated. And then we get to grand finals, MenaRD, NuckleDu. Like I said, NuckleDu has been playing out of his mind. You know, MenaRD obviously playing out of his mind. But clearly that kind of class of 2 players, you know, going up against each other, clearly wouldn't be a wash here. MenaRD 5-0 over NuckleDu with Blanka versus Guile. He didn't even go with Luke. He went with Blanka against Guile. 5-0 over NuckleDu, and again, it didn't look like NuckleDu could do anything. It looked like NuckleDu can do anything. And so what I'm going to say here to John the Automaton's question is, why did so many people get 5-0'd, etc., etc., etc.? Can we finally get into the talk that Blanka is broken? Can we finally talk? Can we finally not think I'm crazy for seeing Blanka and saying he's gotta be top 4 when the game came out? Can we finally talk about the fact that Blanka is clearly busted in this game and that I knew so from the very freaking beginning, because you can't give a character an anti-throw, air, plus on block OD move and a hopping command throw with command hops and a Blanka Chan that gives him like 3 mix-ups in the corner and also extends his combo so that he can sit here and do 2 level 1s to you in 1 combo, and he gets to refill them every single round automatically, and his low strong hits everywhere, and his standing roundhouse only on counter hit knocks you down, so he gets a big old combo, and he has a level 2, which is one of the best level 2s in the entire game, if not the best level 2 in the game. Can we finally stop looking at me like I'm nuts when I say Blanka is crazy? Now these days, I would be more hard pressed to argue that Blanka is top 5 more than I would Ken. But I have just been waiting for someone like MenaRD's level to pick Blanka and also start learning all the shenanigans of a Wolfgang. That's what I've always been saying. I said, if we took somebody with the fundamentals like Blanka and the shenanigans of Wolfgang and we added them together, you will have someone who's unstoppable. Nemo is learning Blanka now. Nemo is learning Blanka now. Dude, you have no... Dude, seriously? Why didn't I say this on stream at Red Bull? Because it's not my show. It's not my show. If this was ICFC, where the commentators are the show to the most part, yes, I would talk about it. Red Bull is, you know, we're there to promote the event, the players, etc., etc. It's not about me. It's not about me at Red Bull. And see, another skill of commentators that you have to learn. Know which events are more important to be about me than it is about to be about, you know, everything else. So, I said that on the stream before, John the Automaton, and yeah, same thing. Me and Olaf talk about it all the time. If Blanka was a hot waifu, he'd have so many more people playing him. People don't play him because he looks like a joke character. If you're a top player, you don't go, Blanka might be a character I need to look at. Only guys like Problem X or Mena will do it because Mena was a birdie player. Problem X likes playing the weird characters. He just does. And so you don't get a lot of the top players playing him. But, I mean, I even walked up to Punk afterwards and I looked at him. You know, this was at dinner after Sunday, and I just looked at him and was like, man, I hope people believe me now Blanka's cheap. And Punk was like, that character's so cheap. Dude, that character is so goddamn good. Can we finally just start talking about him actually being a top 4 character? Can we finally, in fact, at this point, even Phenom, oh God, I'm not using Phenom. Even somebody else said it, that Blanka is probably top 4 higher rated than JP right now because of all the nerfs that JP got. With the nerfs that JP got, I don't even think it's even questionable that Blanka is top 4 right now. Honestly, dude, I mean, I asked Punk and I asked Justin. I was like, is there any character that can beat Blanka? And their response was Honda, but you have to play Honda. Because then if you win against Blanka, then they switch to somebody else and it doesn't matter anymore. Because Honda can't beat pretty much anybody else. But Justin and Punk both said that outside of Honda and like one other character, I forgot who they mentioned, they said he does not lose to anybody else. Seriously, he does not lose to anyone else. My top 5 right now, Fileco, right now, I mean, I have Luke as number 1. I do have Luke as number 1. I had Ken at number 2. I had JP at number 3, but I'm going to drop JP down now because of the nerfs. Chun-Li is up there. Blanka is up there. And then the 5th best at this point... It's really hard to say. It's really, really hard to say. Yeah, I see that Olaf and Chabroni talking about jury. Oh, yeah, no, Lurker Spine, you're right. DJ, that covers it. That's it. That's the end of the conversation right there. DJ, that's the answer. That is literally the answer. I forgot DJ. Yes, absolutely, 100% DJ right now. So in no particular order, I would have Luke, Ken, Blanka, Chun-Li, and DJ. That's the 5 top right now. That, in my opinion, those are the 5 top at this point in time. So, no, Chun-Li is so strong, Fileco. And the Asia region knows this more than we do. If you talk to all the Japanese players, they all have Chun-Li in the top 3. It's like a guaranteed they put her up there. And then you actually have a person like... you also have a person like, Moke, Lashar. We've obviously what Lashar is doing with this character, etc., etc. I think Chun-Li is clearly top 5. But Blanka, holy shit. Is he top 3? He might be top 3. What does he not have? What's he weak? He doesn't have crouching medium kick drive rush? Is that it? Is that it? He has it. It doesn't reach maybe as far as everyone else, but that crouching strong is absolutely, I mean, it's almost Luke level. Blanka's crouching strong, that thing is almost Luke level. His standing heavy kick is one of the best normal anti-airs. Like I said, gets knocked down on counter hits into full super long ass combo. You saw that clip you saw that combo that MenaRD did? It wasn't even done. That combo wasn't done yet. Punk died. Otherwise, there would have been another level 1 if you had a level 1 stored up into it, dude. Like, I'm going to pull this combo out for you guys just so you can see, like, oh my God. Like, you can't look at a character that does this and think, oh yeah, this character is, you know, only barely top 10. Like, you see this and you're just like, what? What? Okay, so this is about this. Let's see. Does somebody have the link to it by any chance at this point in time? Because I am just bad at finding things here. Aki is cool, strongest the comeback. Reigning champ, take this home and give it to the bigger, better bird. God, Joe. Oh my God, Joe is just, Joe was so messed up. Oh, I'm sorry. MenaRD did play Blanka against Gachikun. That's my bad. That's my bad. He did play Blanka against Gachikun. I think it just happened so fast that I just wanted to get it out of my mind that I just didn't want to remember that it actually happened because, oh God, it was so brutal. Here we go. I have the link. I have the link. I have the link. So here we go. This was the mix-up that we had over here. And obviously this is Twitter clip, so it'll clear up in just a second. Here we go. So he gets this combo here. Activate, and then here we go. Throws another one here. Does this. The Blanka ball on the way down. Activates Blanka-chan. He does a frame kill with electricity on landing. So watch this. He does this. Throws this, activates, and frame kill hop behind so that the doll hits at the very last second as a cross-up. So the doll has already been activated by the rainbow ball. And then he does this, hops to the other side, doll hits at the last second. This combo is not over yet. If Mena had another 1 bar, he could have done another level 1 right there. This combo was not even done yet. He could have done another level 1 or an OD up ball or something like that. It's crazy. Oh, is that what it is? The electricity activated it. Okay. I thought he was in level 2, but you're right. He wasn't in level 2 because he had all the things. So that electricity is needed to activate the Blanka-chan right there. So he activates it here, jumps to the other side. Yeah, and then gets this full combo, level 1. That bounces on the Blanka-chan, gets to the other side. And like I said, the combo isn't even done here, dude. Like, that's ridiculous. That is absolutely, like, the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. Honestly, like, it's just ridiculous. Like, how do you see something like that and not think that this character is one of the best? Not one of the best. They also refill between rounds, and he gets 3 of them. And you never see Blanka use all 3 of them, because by the time he uses 1 or 2, you're dead. You're already dead. Why does Kimberly do 90% damage at the start of every round and has 2 cans and has to refill them every round? I don't know. Maybe one of the reasons why I'm so upset at Blanka is because he does everything Kimberly wants to do except like 7,000 times better. And he has an OD wake up. And he has an anti-throw OD air move that's plus on block. So even if they don't throw and they do block it, it's your turn. How is this character not top 4? How is this character not top 4? No grapplers that are top tier. No, there's no characters that are top tier here. So, yeah, Makoto used to have less health because she's a girl. Dude, I don't know, because the thing is, the reason why Kim does less damage than everyone else is because she has the level 3 power-up, right? And that's the same reason why Jamie starts lower than everyone else, because he has the power-up. And they were scared that the power-up would be too strong. So at least Jamie can drink enough to get to the point where he does do extra damage. But Kimberly, they actually made it so that she does 90% damage at start. And then after her level 3, she does normal damage. They're scared of those power-ups, but they really just didn't need to. Okay, Smelly Beetle, but how much credit goes to Mena or Blanka? The thing about that question, Smelly Beetle, which is really, really tough, is that even when you have someone like Snake Eyes using Zangief, or Hibiki using Lily, or, you know, etc., etc., you can still see that the player has to work a little bit harder than everyone else. They make the characters look strong, but you can still tell that the character needs a little help. When MenaRD is using Blanka, now obviously I'm not giving Blanka the credit for Mena's win. Clearly, Mena is also ridiculous. But seeing the level of tools that MenaRD has at his disposal. So one of the things that I've talked about is when you have characters that are honest. I've said this about Lucia in Street Fighter V. She has no shenanigans. She doesn't have anything that she can rely on in a clutch to just steal a victory. But there is basically no point in time in any match that you are free from a comeback from Blanka as long as he has a Blanka Chan. As long as he has level 2. Because he has either of those, you're going to get hit by something that you do not know. You are going to get hit by something you do not know. Let me do another one over here. Let me guys show you another video over here. Oh, perfect. Came right up. Exactly what I'm looking for here. So, I just want you guys to watch this and try to block it. Try to block all this. There's more than one setup in this. Try to block these. And you tell me if you successfully block these or not. When you have a character that can do this, at any point in time your opponent is even remotely not thinking, you get a hit. You get a hit. That's Wolfgang. So I just want you guys to understand that. This is Wolfgang's tweet. If you go look for Wolfgang XO, and find his video called Set Play God, you can go ahead and watch it back again. But seriously, when you have a character that can do stuff like that, and you put them in the hands of a player like MenaRD, yeah, it's not, the majority of the victory is going to go for MenaRD. 100%. 100%, because no one else is winning with Blanka like this. But when you do find the ability to put a character like this in the right hands, and again, as people in the chat said, if she was a hot girl, a lot more people would be playing her. Dude, this character is so messed up. This character is absolutely messed up. And so yes, am I using this opportunity to further my Blanka-ganda? Yes, I am definitely using this tournament to further my Blanka-ganda. Look, dude, this character is so ridiculous, dude. There is no way a character like this can be low. Like, there's just no way. And then you put it into the hands of a person like MenaRD and it's over. Because then all of the weaknesses that Blanka does have, maybe he's weak to projectiles. Maybe his neutral isn't as strong as some other characters. But you put them into the hands of a player like MenaRD. I mean, I say the same thing about Cammy and Punk. I really don't think Cammy is even close to being top 5. Just Punk is ridiculous. And I feel the same thing, you know, kind of about like, but see, that's just the thing. It's like Blanka's not like that because Blanka's way better than Cammy. And then you put him into the hands of someone like MenaRD and it's just absolutely worse. Dude, it's crazy, dude. Like, there's no way this character is bad. There's no way this character is bad. There's no way this character is bad. Happy Persian New Year, Shay On. Happy Nauruz? 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 Is that how I pronounce it? Happy Nauruz? Happy New Year to all of the Palestinian, the Persians out there. Awesome, awesome. Hoping for a better year that's coming up. So, but again, look, man, dude. There's just, you can't, Okay, all right. Calm down, calm down. You know what I need? You know what I need right now, chat? You know what I need right now? Okay. Oh, okay. Oh, boy. Oh, I'm feeling better. All right, I'm feeling better now. I'm feeling better now. Okay. Okay, all right. All right, okay. Whew, boy. On top of all that, Lightning Beast being so broken in the game, man. Oh, my God. Oh, the paws? When their paws are curly? Yeah, when their paws are curly. I know he doesn't always like it, but he's okay with me holding his paw like this. There are some times where he'll be sleeping in the cat bed next to me, and I get to hold his hand like this, and he just puts his chin on my fist and rests it there, you see? Yeah, see? What a good boy. What a good boy. Yeah, yeah. Oh, look at him stuffing his head into my hand. Hi. Hi, Nathan. Hi, Nathan. Sorry for those of you on the podcast listening to this on Spotify or wherever else you're listening to it. You don't get to see the cat rubs, but you know what? Just come to the YouTube video. The link will be in the description. Find the timestamp of cat rub, cat therapy, fuzz therapy, and you can watch this. It is a Tonkinese cat, which means he has half Siamese and half Burmese. That is what this cat is, half Siamese and half Burmese. And that makes him Tonkinese. And he is a great cat. My ex was obsessed with Burmese cats. She says they are the dogs of cats. And if that's the truth, Nathan and Jasmine are proofs of that. Because these two are such lovey-dovey's. Look at this guy. He doesn't like. There are this TikTok trend that was like, try kissing your cat, see what they do, and I just like, mwah, 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 mwah. He doesn't care. He doesn't care. Oh, I can hear him purring. Hope you guys could hear that purr. He moved himself really close to the mic when he did that. Yeah, okay. All right. No more talking about Blanka. But MenaRD is the champion of Red Bull Kumite. And this really kind of leads into the discussion now of, is MenaRD the greatest Street Fighter 6 on the planet right now? Street Fighter 6 player on the planet right now? I mean, yes. 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 I don't think that there's a question right now. Yes. Yes, he's the best player on the planet right now for Street Fighter 6. No, he didn't win Capcom Cup, but, you know, that's a tough tournament to win. You can't win them all. But, I mean, he just won EVO. He just won Red Bull Kumite. His team won FAV Cup. I mean, this guy is nuts. And, of course, yes, Kaze, and please, nobody post it in here because I do not want to spoil it for anybody else. Chabroni, it's hard to say if EVO is more prestigious than EVO. I actually think they're about on equal level, honestly. I'm sorry, you're right. Mena got second place. Mena got second place. Sorry. He got second place. Second best. Angry Bird won EVO. You're right. My bad. That's how good he is, that I thought he won EVO, because I remember him in grand finals. Angry Bird won that. Sorry. The better bird won EVO. That's right. I forgot about that. Okay. But it depends on who you talk to, honestly, between Capcom and EVO. Capcom Cup and EVO. Most people will tell you that EVO is more prestigious. Most of the players will tell you if they had a choice, they would rather win EVO. Capcom Cup nowadays, obviously, because it has $1 million with it, maybe some people would say Capcom Cup. But most players, like talking to Punk would rather win EVO than he would want to win Capcom Cup. Because EVO has that legacy, that history, that lineage. And also, it is the open bracket, right? I mean, you beat 7,000 people to win. So most people will say EVO is more prestigious. So, don't remind me, Richard, who says no American has won EVO yet. Don't remind me. Ugh, man. Well, at least since Street Fighter 5, since Street Fighter 4. Remember at EVO 2008, John Choi won CVS2 and Super Turbo in the same year. But since we went to Street Fighter 4, and John Choi beat Japanese players to do it, Boss in CVS2 and Nuki in Super Turbo, okay? DSP didn't beat any of the real like, when DSP won Super Turbo, it was on a jank version and we didn't have a lot of foreign players, okay? Since Street Fighter 4, an American has not won. No. So, painful. Hi, Juwiley. How you doing? But yeah, so there we go. MenaRD is the champion. Is he solidified as the best player of Street Fighter 6? He kind of was close to it before this, although I may have given Chris Wong the benefit of the doubt, although Mena was in top 4 of both of those tournaments as well. So it was definitely down to those two. But now, without question, I mean, beating Punk 5-0 and then beating Knuckle-Doo 5-0 with Blanka is ridiculous, dude. It's absolutely insane to be able to say that, man. That's just, oh boy, it's so crazy, dude. Oh, so there you go. All right. Red Bull Kumite, amazing event. Amazing event. I had such a great time there. Great production value. Love the storyline thing they did with them running to the payphones and calling and, you know, drawing the cards randomly out of the briefcase, and ROBTV, the Battle King, and L.I. Joe being L.I. Jerk. You know, I think all that. I felt bad when I called him L.I. Jerk because I was like, God damn it. Like, now everyone's just going to call him that and he's never going to shake that. But then even L.I. Joe used the name L.I. Jerk in one of his tweets. And he came up to me and he was like, I mean, he was clearly just like, whatever, dude. He loved it. So, But again, that whole experience was so fantastic. It's really something else. And, you know, Red Bull, clearly one of the best partners in the fighting game community. I mean, clearly, they do wonderful things, wonderful things. And again, it's because they have money and they don't have the intention of trying to make their money back at a Red Bull Kumite from views and venue fees and all this stuff like that. That's not their goal. Red Bull is there to build hype, to, you know, get sponsors and things like that. Their product, like their main product isn't even necessarily their drinks, right? Like there's nowhere during the entire event where you saw a Red Bull gives you wings commercial. Nowhere. They just had us Red Bull cans on the table. You know, a few Red Bull cans here and there to their Red Bull players. But outside of that, you know, they're a brand that really just tries to spread and show the excitement of a lot of other things and stuff. And I enjoy working with them. I'm always glad to work with them, honestly. So, all right. So there you go. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys had a lot of fun with there. For those of you on YouTube, I'm sorry, for those of you on Twitch, I'll be talking about some more topics over here. Obviously, the SNK World Championships was this weekend as well. A lot of Fatal Fury news coming out. Will I be commentating at Evo Japan? No, I will not be, Chabroni. They are not flying anyone out. I think they're doing a remote thing like they did last year. And I probably will not be a part of that team, as I have already accepted a commentary gig elsewhere because I wanted to. It's nice to lock down gigs early because then you know you'll get paid. So, so I locked it down early. But yeah, there we go. So again, for those of you on Twitch, we'll be going on to this other stuff. But for those of you on YouTube, thank you for watching. Thank you for enjoying this and subscribing and liking this video and such. And please leave comments down there what you liked about the Red Bull Kumite, what your favorite parts are, or some of the parts that you might not like. Definitely down to talk about that as well. So thank you guys on YouTube for watching here. And remember, the day that this podcast graced your ears was the most important day of your life. But for me,
it was Tuesday.